Hello, welcome. I'm Lisa, artist with watercolor cards, and I like to use color wheels to swatch my colors. It really has helped me use color in ways I never would have used color, and it has really helped me understand the difference between a color wheel and just swatching. So if you want to take your color to the next level, I recommend swatching your colors in a color wheel. I use a My Color Journey. I just got a sketchbook that I started just this year. It's totally empty, and I swatch my colors. I use my watercolors, but I'm also using ink. And now I want to share with you kind of how I would go about maybe swatching these or doing color wheels, so then I know when I want a certain color, I can go and find it easily instead of guessing over and over again. So I hope that this helps. This lesson would be for anyone who wants to learn more about color theory and how to use ink in their projects, whether it's for stenciling or stamping. So it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of good information, and I hope that you get something out of it. If you do get something out of it, please like my video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it very, very much. And let's get started. And I have all of my beautiful Tailored Expressions colors. They don't all fit in this, but the grays and browns and blacks are in a separate container. So this is most of every single color that Tailored Expressions has. Alright, here's my color journey. I like to swatch my colors and make some color wheels. That's the last thing I did. I also made a color wheel of my bright primary colors with my watercolor. But let's do some ink. Let's ink up some pages. So I like to have a Micron pen, which I have right here. And I am just going to write Tailored Expressions color wheels. Ink, because they also have liquid watercolor, which would be close to the same but not. Alright, and then what I found to be very helpful for me is if you have a cheap acrylic block like this one, go ahead and put a stamp on it. I am using a balloon from a old stamp set. Bold balloons. You do not have to use this, but I did not have a circle, any kind of circle-y-ish shadow stamp, or this is like, it's not a detailed stamp, it's a shadow stamp. Will work for this. Alright, so first thing to know about color and color theory is that color theory, I like to go by I like to make my own color wheels for a lot of different reasons, but when I sort out the colors, what I do is, like, we all have heard of rainbow order, RGB, and that is perfect. Keep doing that. But there's two different ways to go by rainbow order, and so my way is that I find all the bright colors and all the muted colors, and then I almost separate them. So I could very much separate this into a split palette, and I could do this here, and I don't mind doing it, but I don't know all the colors yet, and so I want to swatch them out and then decide which ones are muted and which ones are brights. And the brights are called high key, and the muted colors are called low key. So I know just by looking that this one looks like it would be a muted color, right? Jalapeno. Like I can go through and kind of eyeball which ones might be muted and which ones might be bright, and that does two things for me. The bright colors work with bright colors, the muted colors work with muted colors, and once in a while I can take like 3 bright colors and add a muted color just to mix things up a little bit. It just depends on the feel of the card, but I would say that 9 times out of 10 I'm either in a high key color palette or a low key color palette. I'm not in a let's play with this color and this color and hope that it works. I know that my mutes are going to work together and my brights are going to work together. So let's play. I'm not going to swatch all of these, but I'm going to give you an idea of how using a color wheel and knowing our brights from our muted colors, or a low key and a high key color palette, is really going to help you. So one of the brightest colors I know is lemon meringue. This is probably one of the brightest colors. And then I also know that dragon fruit is another very bright, vivid color, so I'm going to use that. And then I need a blue, and almost always Cookie Monster is a very bright color. So, and if you work in printing at all, you'll understand that this is magenta, this is cyan, and this is like pure yellow that you would use for printing processes, right? Your inkjet printer uses these colors, printers use this color. So this is a pretty easy combo, but what we can do then is see what our mixes are going to be, right? I feel like this color palette has been done enough, so I will do that, but I want to kind of stretch myself, stretch you guys a little bit. So let's go with a dark red. This would be a muted color. I'm going to put those, and then I'm going to go with a, I like blue, and I do like blue corn, and blue corn is very much a muted blue, almost like an indigo if you do watercolor. And then I know honey is a very warm, muted yellow. So we're going to go with those three. And look at that. All three of those together look lovely. Wouldn't that be pretty? And that could be for a landscape. I could see that working really well for animals. And then you could just add a little bit of other colors. So let's try that. I'm going to go ahead and write mulled wine, honey, and blue corn. Okay, now I got my little stamp out. I'm going to stamp some happiness onto my, and that looks about right. It's been a while since I've used this, so we'll see. I like that. That's really dark. That's about right, right? And then I'm going to put one right here, so I'm going to see what it's going to look like when I overlap the two. Okay. Alright, now I can go in with my honey. And I will say that yellow will be the most transparent. And I'm going to put that right here. This is just a swatch, so I know if I like it. That is really, really, really kind of pretty. I like that. All right. And I think there was still some red on the stamp, but that's okay. Now I'm going to see, because ink is transparent, I can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. It does have a little bit of an orangey touch to it. But then I'm going to, now you might think, oh, I don't know about these colors, but hopefully this is how we learn. This is how we know if we like this. Now this is a very deep, dark, dark one. This is blue corn. I love blue corn. It's very muted. Ooh, that's really pretty. See, all three of them together work because they're all muted. And then this one, there we go. I can definitely see the green. That's a really pretty green. It's a very dark green. But if we were to blend those three, we could probably get a really pretty green. So there we go. Now if I wanted to, I could take my blender brushes and blend these two and get a really pretty green, or maybe get a really pretty orange. So let's do that real quick. Here's my blender brushes. I'm going to get my little color holder thing out so I am not messing around. Alright, and that will make my life a little bit easier, huh? Actually. So when I'm using color, I like to have my yellows at the top and then my darkest value, which is blue, at the bottom. So I probably should have had this at the bottom and then the two up here, but that's okay. But if I were to do watercolor, that's what I would do. But there we go. This will help. Alright, so let's blend. I like to use a separate paper to make sure there's nothing really on it. And there's nothing on it. So, alright, now I'm ready. I got pineapple. Right, there's pineapple. Probably needs re-ink, but it'll work for now. I still got it swatched. And I always say purple goes at the bottom of my color wheel because it is the darkest value in the color wheel. If you want a dark value, purples and blues are your color to go to, your go-to color. Okay. That's pretty bright. It's very neutral, so it's not as bright as it could be, but it's pretty bright. Alright. And now, because yellow is a primary color, and I'm making primary colors in a triangle, this is where I want my red to be. And all I did was I just marked a triangle. I know that I always want yellow at the top, and then the other two, like I like to put blue here. You could put blue here, it doesn't matter, but I'm putting blue right here. There's my blue. Quite a lovely blue. It's a very, again, neutral color, but more on the bright side. And then watermelon is my red or my pink. And that's going to go right here. Perfect. Not a perfect stamp, but we're not judging our stamping ability at the moment. We're not using our MISTI, so it's okay. And then since I'm already doing red, I might as well do my orange. I'm just going to make sure it's really clean, and it is. I know an artist that wears old socks on her wrist, and I'm about to that point. Just whenever I need to clean my stamp or my brush off, just use my old sock. I think that might be a thing I start doing. There's my orange. Look at how beautiful that works together. And then I have my green, and my green is very, very bright, so it might not look quite right with the other two, with the other colors, but we're going to try it. Who knows? I might surprise myself. And there we go. There's my perfect color wheel. And then I know that I can then write with my Micron pen. I like using a Micron. This is Lime Zest. Now that I swatched all of my high key colors, it's time to put the principle that I taught into action. And oftentimes I like to use maybe one or two primary colors and then a secondary color, which you'll see here. I'm adding a lot of yellow to the background. I always like yellow as like a base color. Almost always yellow is my first choice for for my local color. And then I go into my orange or a red just to give it a, they're close to the color wheel so that it's always squeezing on the eye. And then I usually do a complementary color that's not going to dull or gray the stencil, and so that's what you'll see here. I'm placing orange on top of the yellow because I know that the orange is going to look nice with the yellow, and because it's in the same key, the high key family, it's going to look nice together. I'm not going to have any clashing things. And then the complementary color to orange is blue, and the blue part of the stenciling is on white paper, so it's really gonna just pop, and you'll see that here in just a second. And while I understand my colors, that's when you can really have a lot of fun. And I mean, usually most layering stencils you need 4 colors, so maybe I would choose the primary colors with orange if it's a floral, or maybe I would use the 3 secondary colors with a primary color, or maybe I would go in a half circle and just use the green, yellow, orange, and red, or maybe I'd go on this side of the circle, or maybe start with, you know, like there's so many different ways you can use just this color palette and you'll get a good result. But once you understand high key and low key color, it's so much easier to match colors. Let's do a low key color palette with the primary and secondary colors. Okay, so we know that these are high key, and I already used some of my high key colors, but let's go with, I will admit that I think guava is a little bit bright, but there's a little bit of, it's a little bit muted, so we'll go with guava. And sour gummy is another like blue corn. It's a little bit muted. There's a little bit more turquoise or teal maybe into it, but I think that'll be really pretty. I know that eggplant, actually I know huckleberry is a very muted purple, so we'll put huckleberry at the bottom. And then I'm looking for a warm toned yellow. And sometimes I have to go into my oranges, but I'm hoping that I don't have to. We could do Dijon. Dijon is a little bit green, I think. I'm just gonna, yeah, there's a little bit of green to it. I think it could work. I don't know how the orange would work with that, but I think we'll try Dijon because that is very muted and it's a very yellow. So I think that could be a really pretty color. And then I'm gonna go with a, if we do Dijon, I think I'll do sweet basil for green. Because that sweet basil is also muted, and I need a orange, and I know that candy corn is pretty bright, if I remember right. Yeah, there's a little bit of muted colors in candy corn, so we could use candy corn. Let's see if pumpkin's any brighter. Oh, that's muted. Oh, that's perfect. We'll do that one. All right. So, again, I'm gonna make my little triangle. There's my primary colors, and then my secondary colors. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're not judging ourselves on perfection here. Alright, we're going to clean the stamp, make sure there's no yellow on it. We're going to start with Dijon. I may or may not be a fan of Dijon, but I have not tried this. But I know the color pretty well, so I'm very hopeful. That's a very muted yellow. And then I want to do my purple. Once I get my lightest and darkest value on the color wheel, it just comes together much easier. You can also do this when you're choosing out your stamps or your stenciling colors. You can be like, well, I know I need a light and I know I need a dark. So what do I want to do? Ooh, look at that huckleberry with the Dijon mustard. Isn't that gorgeous together? So pretty. All right. And now I know I need red to be next to that purple.
That's really pretty. Wow. It's a little pinky than I originally thought in my head, but that's okay. And since we're already going kind of up, we might as well just continue that pattern, huh? Some people might ask, like, how do you come up with these color schemes? And I will be honest, I examine nature a lot. So when I see like a woodpecker at my bird feeder, I am looking to see what red do I think that woodpecker has. Is it light? Is it a muted red? Is it a bright red like a cardinal? And then I will then play with my colors. All right, and then we just have green, sweet basil, which I really think the sweet basil, oh, and sour gummy. I think the two of those colors are really gonna just make the colors pop. There's the sweet basil, so pretty. And look, it still looks like a rainbow. It's just muted colors. So when we know how to use our colors, oh my gosh, the guesswork is just taken away from us. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to like agonize over what color works. Because even if you don't get the right shade of blue, you're still in the right color family, the right key. And all right, putting practice and principle into action. So here I kind of am doing the same thing. I'm taking the Dijon yellow with the pumpkin and with the sour gummies. So once I understand how to use color, the guesswork is out and I can just enjoy the process instead of wondering, oh, is this blue gonna work? I know it's gonna work because it's in the same key as the other colors. So anyways, this is almost finished. I'm finishing up with the blue, and then you'll see this beautiful work of art that happens. And so what's really fun is being able to try your different colors in different ways to really get unique patterns just from your layered stencils. I sure hope this helps. If this helps, give this video a like and subscribe. I sure appreciate it. And have fun using your colors in a new light. I love knowing my high key from my low key colors. It really takes the guesswork out of so many. And there is the finished product, and it looks very much the similar, but that is with a low key. And then I did another one with not with yellow, with blues and greens and purples. And so you can kind of see the difference, but this is why a color wheel is so helpful. We're swatching colors, but we're also using the color wheel to make informed decisions that will help us in our art. All right, I have one last idea for you. Sometimes it's nice to know your primaries, and this is a very print-like color. So you got your bright yellow, your magenta, and your cyan. And all I'm doing is I'm going to blend these three colors together so I can see what kind of purples I get and what kind of greens and oranges I get. And that will help me decide how I want to blend those three colors with. Before this video ends, I just want to say I'm so grateful for you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel. It really means a lot to me. And I hope that this video gave you a lot of value and a lot of ideas to use for your color. Happy inking, and we'll talk to you soon.